The quantum sensors aboard the Celestial Harmony research vessel flickered with unprecedented readings. Dr. Ixel's four eyes widened as she studied the data streaming across her holographic displays. After 3 centuries of searching, her team had finally found what they sought: a species that might save their civilization. The Harmonious Collective had achieved what many would consider perfection. Their antimatter-powered cities spanned entire solar systems. Their citizens lived for millennia, their consciousness seamlessly transferring between organic and synthetic forms at will. Disease, war, and scarcity were distant memories from their evolutionary past. But perfection, they had discovered, came with a price. Secondary confirmation complete, announced Ixel's research partner, Ven, his crystalline form shimming under the ship's ambient lighting. The readings are consistent across all frequencies. These humans have adapted to radiation levels that should be evolutionarily impossible. Ixel moved her upper limbs in a gesture of cautious optimism. Show me their planetary conditions again. The holographic display shifted to show Earth, a swirling blue and green pearl suspended in space. But beneath its beautiful exterior lay conditions that would kill most advanced species in the galaxy. Natural radiation from their sun, cosmic rays barely filtered by their thin atmosphere, and most remarkably, their civilization's survival of their own nuclear age. Their bodies repair radiation damage at rates we've never seen, Ven continued. Their DNA reconstruction mechanisms are crude but incredibly resilient, nothing like our engineered perfection. And that was exactly why they needed humanity's help. The collective had engineered themselves into an evolutionary corner. In pursuing biological and technological perfection, they had sacrificed their ability to adapt. Now, as the quantum plague spread across their systems, slowly unraveling the very fabric of their existence, their perfect bodies and minds were helpless to stop it. Begin first contact protocols, Ixel commanded. But modified approach. These humans are classified as a Deathworld species. Their psychological profile suggests they respond better to direct honesty than our usual diplomatic overtures. The Celestial Harmony's quantum engines hummed as they prepared to reveal themselves to Earth's defensive grid. Humanity had only achieved faster-than-light travel a few decades ago, but their military capabilities were already legendary among spacefaring races. Any species that evolved on a world like Earth had to be formidable to survive. Multiple targeting systems have locked onto our position, Ven reported calmly. Their weapons are surprisingly sophisticated for their technological level. Ixel had expected no less. Open communications on all their military frequencies. Let them see us. The holographic displays blazed to life with dozens of human faces, military commanders, political leaders, and scientific advisors all staring at the first alien contact in their species' history. Ixel noted with approval how quickly they had organized a response. Greetings, people of Earth, Ixel began, her translator converting her harmonic speech into human languages. I am Chief Researcher Ixel of the Harmonious Collective. We come seeking your help, for you possess something unique in all the galaxy: the ability to survive what is killing us. The humans' reactions were fascinating. Where most species would show fear or suspicion at such a direct approach, she saw curiosity, concern, and, most surprisingly, excitement in their expressions. This is General Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command, one of the humans responded. You're saying you need our help. I admit that's not how we expected first contact to go. Indeed, my species is dying, General Chen. A quantum plague is unraveling the very structure of our civilization. Our perfect bodies and advanced technology are useless against it. But you whose bodies repair radiation damage daily, whose cells have evolved to rebuild themselves from the harshest conditions, you might be our salvation. The humans conferred among themselves, their discussions a mixture of scientific curiosity and military caution. Ixel could hardly blame them. Her people's technology was centuries ahead of Earth's. This could easily be seen as a trick or trap. Let me be clear, Ixel continued. We offer a full technological exchange. Our quantum engineering, antimatter power systems, medical technology, everything we know for the chance to study how your bodies resist types of damage that our perfect forms cannot. And if we refuse? Another human asked, his uniform marking him as a high-ranking military officer. Then we will respect your decision and leave. But know that the quantum plague is spreading. In approximately 30 of your years, it will reach Earth's region of space. Without understanding how your biology achieves its remarkable resilience, we cannot stop it. The humans' discussions grew more intense. Ixal waited patiently, knowing that this moment would define the future of both their species. She had studied humanity's history extensively before making contact. Their capacity for violence was matched only by their capacity for compassion. They had nearly destroyed themselves multiple times, but always pulled back from the brink, learning and growing stronger from each crisis. "We need proof," General Chen finally said, "of both the plague and your peaceful intentions." "Agreed. We propose sending a small research vessel to your Mars colony. Your settlers there already deal with higher radiation levels. They would be ideal for initial collaborative studies. We will share our full database on the quantum plague and submit to any security measures you deem necessary." The humans seemed surprised by this ready acceptance of their terms. Ixal knew why. Most advanced species would consider such conditions beneath them. But the collective had evolved beyond such pride. Survival required adaptation, and humanity had much to teach them about that. "One more question," a human scientist spoke up. "Why us? Surely there are other spacefaring races closer to your technology level." "Because you are unique," Ixal explained. "Most species either die from their world's harsh conditions or engineer themselves to escape them. You did neither. You adapted, evolved, and turned your world's radiation into a shield rather than a curse. The very thing most species would consider a fatal flaw in your planet's design became your strength." The humans exchanged looks that Ixal's cultural database identified as pride mixed with determination. Yes, these were the people they needed, a species that had turned their harsh evolutionary history into an advantage. "Send your data on the plague," General Chen commanded. "Our scientists will begin analysis immediately. If everything checks out, we can have a cooperative research agreement drafted within the week." "Thank you." Ixal's harmonic voice carried genuine gratitude. "Perhaps it is fitting that those you call Deathworlders might hold the key to life itself." As the communication ended and the celestial harmony prepared to transmit its databases, Ixal turned to Ven. "Initial contact assessment. They are everything our studies suggested," Ven replied. "Direct, practical, cautious, but not paralyzed by fear." "And did you notice their scientists were already discussing research protocols before the military finished security arrangements?" "Indeed. Their drive to understand, to solve problems, it's remarkable. Most species would take days just to process the shock of first contact. They're already planning experiments." The quantum plague had taught the collective a harsh lesson about the price of perfection. Now, these humans, with their imperfect bodies, their constant cellular repair, their adaptation to conditions that would kill most species, might teach them something even more valuable. That true strength comes not from eliminating flaws, but from turning them into advantages. As Earth's first research ships approached Mars to begin the joint project, Ixal felt something she hadn't experienced in centuries: hope. The Deathworlders were about to show the galaxy why evolution had made them so remarkably resilient. The future of both their species would never be the same. The Mars Research Station Alpha hummed with activity unlike anything it had seen in its 15 years of operation. Human scientists in radiation suits worked alongside the crystalline forms of collective researchers, their laboratories filled with equipment from two vastly different technological traditions. Dr. Sarah Martinez adjusted her radiation shield as she studied the quantum plague samples through a containment field. After 3 months of joint research, they were finally beginning to understand what made this microscopic apocalypse tick. "The plague isn't just destroying tissue," she explained to the gathered team. It's unraveling quantum coherence at the cellular level. That's why the collective's perfect bodies are so vulnerable. Their quantum-engineered cells have no natural defense mechanisms left. Ixel moved closer to the containment field, her 4 eyes focused on the display. Yet human cells show remarkable resistance. Even when the plague disrupts their quantum states, they somehow maintain biological function. Because we never tried to escape our origins, Maya declared. Humanity took the harshness that forged us and built upon it. The collective learned to step back from perfect engineering to embrace adaptation again. Together, we're proving there's another way. The hologram flickered, its perfect geometries showing signs of uncertainty. Our maker's predictions did not account for this. A species that enhances itself not to escape its nature, but to augment it. Hybrid vigor on a quantum scale. Then help us. Dr. Santos stepped forward, her scientist's curiosity overwhelming caution. Your makers wanted to prevent the collapse of civilizations. Show us what they knew. Help us save the collective and prove there's a better path than enforced evolution. For a moment that seemed to stretch into infinity, the hologram processed this request. When it spoke again, its voice held something new, possibility. Access granted. We will share the destroyer's knowledge. Perhaps our maker's wisdom was incomplete. They saw perfection as the enemy but did not consider that imperfection could be a foundation rather than a flaw. The archive came alive, pouring forth secrets hidden for millions of years. The hybrid team began downloading everything. The plague's full design, the destroyer's quantum mathematics, and most importantly, their incomplete understanding of how evolution truly worked. As her team worked, Maya sent a message back to Mars Command. Archive secured. But we found something more valuable than a cure. We found proof that humanity's path, embracing our harsh origins while reaching for the stars, isn't just viable, it's vital. The hologram watched them work, its perfect geometries somehow conveying curiosity. Your species is young, yet you understand something our makers never did. True resilience comes not from transcending nature, but from building upon it. That's what evolution on a death world teaches you, Maya replied. Every flaw is a potential strength. Every challenge is an opportunity to adapt. And sometimes, the hardest path makes you strong enough to save not just yourself, but others too. The knowledge they gained that day would change the galaxy forever. But more importantly, it would prove that humanity's greatest gift to the cosmos wasn't their technology or their strength. It was their understanding that true advancement comes not from escaping your origins, but from embracing them as the foundation for growth. The combined human collective fleet hung in high orbit above Earth, a testament to how much had changed in the years since first contact. Massive collective ships, their crystalline structures reflecting sunlight, flew in formation with Earth's more utilitarian vessels. Inside the flagship Evolutionary Leap, Dr. Martinez watched their greatest gamble take shape. Final simulation complete, Ixel announced, her crystalline form pulsing with cautious optimism. The hybrid technology is stable across all test scenarios. The laboratory around them had become the heart of humanity's response to the quantum plague. Here, hybrid humans worked alongside collective scientists, their combined knowledge giving birth to something unprecedented. Technology that could rewrite the rules of evolution itself. The destroyers thought they were preventing collapse by enforcing evolutionary regression, Martinez observed, studying the holographic models. Instead, they nearly caused the very catastrophe they feared. Admiral Chen's hologram appeared in the command center. The play has reached the edge of Sol's system. Our window of opportunity is closing. The plan they'd developed was audacious. Using knowledge from the ancient archive, they had created a quantum wave that could spread across space faster than the plague. But instead of destroying advanced life, it would offer a choice, a way to incorporate human adaptability into quantum-engineered biology. All ships report ready, Chen continued. Dr. Martinez, this is your show now. Martinez touched the quantum interface, feeling the strange sensation of her hybrid biology, connecting with the ship's systems. Around her, other hybrid humans did the same, their partially quantum-engineered bodies serving as living bridges between Earth's evolutionary heritage and the collective's advanced technology. "Begin sequence," she commanded. "All ships, power to quantum arrays." The combined fleet began moving into position, forming a precise geometric pattern in space. Each ship would act as a node in a vast network, spreading their evolutionary solution across the galaxy. "Energy readings at maximum," Ixel reported. "The quantum wave is forming." The first teams of hybrid humans were preparing to deploy to infected worlds. They would be the test of Martinez's theory, that the key to fighting the destroyer's weapon wasn't to achieve perfection, but to embrace the very imperfections they had tried to engineer out of existence. As she watched the volunteers train, their bodies now harboring both human resilience and collective quantum engineering, Martinez couldn't help but smile. The destroyers had created their weapon assuming that advanced life would always pursue perfection. They never imagined that the galaxy's salvation would come from a species that had turned their harsh evolutionary history into their greatest strength. The real fight was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy why sometimes the best way forward isn't to transcend your origins, but to embrace them. The quantum hybrid strike team, Sigma, descended through the atmosphere of New Harmony, their modified drop pods piercing the swirling clouds of plate particles. Inside the lead pod, Commander Maya Patel watched the radiation readings spike to levels that would kill most species instantly. 3 months of genetic modification had changed her team in ways that still felt strange. Their bodies now housed both human radiation resistance and collective quantum technology, making them unique in the galaxy. They were humanity's answer to an enemy that had waited millions of years to strike. "Strike team, status check," Maya commanded, her voice steady despite the turbulence. "All teams nominal," came the responses. Quantum shields holding at 80%. The surface of New Harmony came into view, or what remained of it. The collective's once pristine cities were dark, their quantum networks destroyed by the plague. Only the emergency bunkers still showed signs of life, protecting the last survivors of this world. "Remember," Maya broadcast to her team, "we're not just here to rescue survivors. Primary objective is to secure the ancient archive. Intelligence suggests this world holds records of the destroyers that the collective never fully translated." Their pods landed with precision born of countless simulations. 20 hybrid humans emerged into an alien city, their modified bodies serving as both weapon and shield against the plague swirling around them. "Contact, 2 o'clock. Lieutenant James Wong called out. "Some kind of automated defense system. Definitely not collective tech." Ancient machines rose from the ground, their designs radically different from anything human or collective. They moved with an organic fluidity that belied their mechanical nature. "Destroyers tech," Maya realized. They left guardians. "Sigma team, defensive formation. Let's show them what hybrid vigor looks like." The battle was unlike anything in human military history. The ancient machines attacked with weapons designed to disrupt quantum coherence, lethal to the collective, but only partially effective against hybrid biology. Maya's team responded with a combination of human tactical adaptability and collective quantum engineering. "They're adapting to our weapons," Wong reported as another guardian fell. "Learning our patterns. Then we'll do what humans do best," Maya grinned. "Improvise." The team split into smaller units, using tactics that would seem chaotic to most military strategists. But chaos was humanity's ally here. Their partially quantum-engineered bodies could shift between ordered and disordered states in ways the ancient machines couldn't predict. Finally, they reached the archive entrance. Dr. Elena Santos, their quantum physicist, immediately began working on the sealed door. "These symbols," she muttered, "they're not just a language. They're equations describing fundamental reality itself." The door opened with a sound like breaking glass, revealing a vast chamber filled with crystalline data structures. But they weren't alone. A hologram appeared, a being of geometric perfection that hurt the eyes to look at. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "We are the final protocol of the destroyers," it announced. "Our makers saw the pattern across 1,000 galaxies. Species achieve spaceflight, discover quantum engineering, pursue perfection. And then the collapse comes. Perfect systems cannot adapt. Perfect beings cannot survive. We were left to ensure this cycle ends." Maya stepped forward, her hybrid biology allowing her to withstand the hologram's reality-warping presence. "Your makers were wrong. Evolution isn't about achieving perfection. It's about maintaining the ability to change. You are an anomaly." The hologram studied them with alien intensity. "Your bodies hold both order and chaos. You defy the pattern." "Because we're messy," Dr. Martinez smiled. "Human biology is redundant, inefficient, and constantly breaking down and rebuilding itself. We evolved under conditions that should have killed us 1,000,000 times over. Our cells don't rely on quantum perfection. They expect things to go wrong." The station's alert system suddenly blared to life. Emergency lights bathed the laboratory in red as Admiral Chen's hologram appeared in the center of the room. "We have a situation." The Admiral's voice was grim. "The plea has adapted. 3 collective worlds just went dark. Their quantum networks are completely offline. Ixal's crystalline form dimmed with distress. Impossible. The plague shouldn't be capable of such rapid evolution. Unless," Dr. Martinez interjected, "it's not evolution at all. Show me the infection pattern." The holographic display shifted to show the spread of the plague across collective space. Martine studied it intently, her mind racing. Years of working with radiation patterns had taught her to see things others missed. "There," she pointed to seemingly random fluctuations in the plague's behavior. "These aren't natural patterns. The plague is being directed." The revelation hit the room like a physical force. What they had thought was a natural phenomenon was actually a weapon, one designed to target the collective's perfectly engineered biology. "Admiral," Martinez continued, "we need to shift our approach. This isn't just a medical crisis anymore. It's an attack." "Agreed. I'm implementing Operation Dead Star effective immediately. All research data is now classified. Dr. Martinez, you'll lead the scientific team. Ixal, we'll need everything you know about potential enemies of the collective." The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Human military ships began escorting refugee vessels from infected worlds. The Mars station transformed into a combined research and command center. And deep in their laboratories, human and collective scientists worked to understand who would create such a precise and deadly weapon. "The quantum signature is familiar," Ixal announced one evening, her voice carrying harmonics of deep concern. "It matches ancient warnings in our historical database, tales of a species that believed perfection was an abomination." Martinez looked up from her work. "The destroyers you mentioned, I thought they were just legends. All legends have a core of truth. They vanished eons ago, but not before leaving weapons designed to activate if any species achieved what they considered dangerous levels of biological engineering. Like the collective's quantum-engineered bodies," Martinez finished the thought. "But they never counted on a species like humans, one that achieved space travel while still carrying the marks of their evolutionary struggles." The implications were staggering. Humanity's supposed primitive biology, the very thing that had kept them from achieving the collective's level of perfection, was now their greatest asset. Their cells' ability to function even when quantum coherence was disrupted meant they could survive where the collective's perfect bodies failed. "We need to move faster." Admiral Chen's hologram appeared again. 2 more systems just went dark. At this rate, the collective's central worlds will be hit within months. Martinez stood, her decision made. "Then we do something the destroyers never expected. We fight quantum with quantum. Admiral, I need volunteers, humans willing to undergo partial quantum engineering while maintaining their natural radiation resistance." "You're talking about creating hybrid biology." Ixal's form brightened with surprise. combining collective knowledge with human resilience. Exactly. We can't stop the plague with either of our technologies alone. But together, we might just have a chance. The call for volunteers went out across the Mars colonies and Earth's military. The response was overwhelming. Thousands of humans stepped forward, ready to risk transforming their bodies into something entirely new, not for perfection, but for survival. As the first volunteers began the transformation process, Martinez watched their cells adapt in ways neither human nor collective science had predicted. Their natural radiation resistance combined with quantum engineering created something unprecedented, biology that could actively fight back against the plague. Remarkable, Ixel observed, studying the results. Your people modify themselves not to escape their harsh origins, but to build upon them. Even now, you're turning what we thought was a weakness into strength. Martinez nodded, watching as the hybrid cells destroyed plague samples that would have devastated pure collective biology. That's the thing about evolving on a death world. You learn that survival isn't about being perfect, it's about being adaptable. Through the ship's sensors, Martinez could see it building. A ripple in reality itself, carrying within it the genetic keys to survival. Unlike the plague, which forced evolution, this wave would offer adaptation. It would show the galaxy how to combine quantum engineering with natural resilience. Wave release in 3, 2, 1. The quantum wave erupted from the fleet in a brilliant display of energy, spreading outward faster than light. As it traveled, it carried with it humanity's greatest gift to the cosmos, the understanding that true strength comes not from transcending nature, but from working with it. First contact with infected worlds, Ixel announced, monitoring the wave's effect. The plague. It's being transformed, integrated rather than destroyed. On infected worlds across the galaxy, something remarkable was happening. Species that had engineered themselves into evolutionary dead ends found their quantum perfection merging with more resilient patterns. The plague, designed to enforce regression, was instead becoming a catalyst for a new kind of evolution. It's beautiful, Martins whispered, watching through quantum-enhanced sensors as life across the galaxy adapted. The destroyers never understood. Evolution isn't about achieving perfection or maintaining purity. It's about finding balance between advancement and resilience. The collective's worlds began coming back online. Their quantum networks transformed but not destroyed. Their perfect bodies learned to incorporate imperfections that made them stronger. And through it all, humanity's hybrid teams helped guide the transition, teaching others what they had learned about combining the best of both worlds. Message from the ancient archive. Admiral Chen reported, the final protocol has registered what it calls an unexpected but optimal outcome. It's shutting down the plague's original programming completely. Martinez smiled, because we proved there was another way. Not perfect, not primitive, but adaptive. Exactly what evolution intended. A month later, representatives from across the galaxy gathered on Earth. The collective's leaders, their bodies now showing subtle signs of hybrid adaptation, stood alongside human officials. Together, they announced the formation of a new initiative, the Evolutionary Council, dedicated to helping species find their own balance between advancement and resilience. Some called Earth a death world. Martins addressed the gathering. But those harsh conditions that shaped us, they taught us something valuable. True strength isn't about eliminating flaws or achieving perfection. It's about turning challenges into advantages, about being adaptable enough to face whatever the universe throws at us. As she spoke, ships from newly transformed worlds arrived in orbit, their designs showing the first signs of hybrid innovation, quantum engineering tempered by evolutionary wisdom. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where advancement didn't mean leaving your origins behind, but building upon them. The quantum plague, meant to be a weapon of regression, had instead become a catalyst for a greater transformation. And humanity, the Deathworlders who had learned to thrive in harsh conditions, had shown the galaxy that sometimes the hardest path leads to the greatest strength. 5 years after the quantum transformation, Earth had become the unlikely center of a galactic renaissance. The sprawling Evolutionary Institute campus outside Geneva hummed with activity as species from across the galaxy came to study what many now call the human equation, the perfect balance between advancement and resilience. Dr. Sarah Martinez stood at the observation deck, watching ships from 100 worlds move through the sky. Some bore the crystalline perfection of the former collective, others showed designs as varied as the species that built them. All carried the marks of the new hybrid science that humanity had helped pioneer. Creator Martinez, a melodious voice called. She turned to see Ven, his crystalline form now showing the subtle irregularities that marked all post-transformation collective members. The first graduation ceremony is about to begin. Below them, in the Institute's Great Hall, representatives from 50 species gathered. These were the first graduates of the Evolutionary Enhancement Program, scientists and leaders who had learned to guide their civilizations toward sustainable advancement. When I was young, Ven observed, we thought Earth's radiation levels made it a death world. We could not understand how your species survived, let alone thrived. Now we know. Those very conditions gave humanity the gift we all needed. Martinez nodded, remembering those first desperate days of the plague. We never tried to escape our nature. Every challenge Earth threw at us, we adapted to face. That turned out to be exactly what the galaxy needed. The ceremony began, and Martinez took her place on the stage alongside other human and alien leaders. Each graduate would return to their homeworld carrying not just knowledge, but a new philosophy, one that recognized the value of both advancement and resilience. The destroyers weren't entirely wrong. She began her address. They saw civilizations rise and fall, always following the same pattern, achieving quantum perfection only to lose the ability to adapt. But their solution, forcing evolutionary regression, was as flawed as the problem they sought to prevent. She gestured to the gathered graduates. You represent a new path. Your species will advance not by escaping their origins, but by building upon them. Human biology taught us that imperfection isn't weakness. It's the foundation of adaptability. In orbit above them, the ancient Archive's final protocol maintained its vigil, but with a new directive. Instead of watching for species to suppress, it now helped guide them towards sustainable evolution. The destroyer's legacy had been transformed, just as the quantum plague had been transformed, into a force for balance rather than regression. Some still call Earth a death world. Martinez continued, but we prefer to think of it as a proving ground. Every challenge that made Earth harsh, the radiation, the gravity, the constant need to adapt, helped forge humanity into what the galaxy needed. We're living proof that the hardest conditions can create the strongest foundations. The graduates rose, their various forms reflecting the diversity of life in the galaxy. Some had chosen to incorporate hybrid engineering. Others had found their own paths to balance advancement with resilience. All had learned from humanity's example that true strength comes not from transcending nature, but from embracing it as a foundation for growth. As you return to your worlds, Martinez concluded, remember this lesson. The future belongs not to the perfect, nor to the primitive, but to those who understand that evolution is an endless dance between advancement and adaptability. Humanity's gift to the galaxy wasn't our technology or our strength. It was our understanding that every flaw can become a foundation, every challenge an opportunity. Later, as the celebration continued, Martinez stood with Ixel watching Earth's sunset. The collective scientists' form caught the dying light, refracting it in patterns that would have been impossible before the transformation. Did you ever imagine, Ixel asked, when we first contacted Earth, that your death world would end up saving the galaxy? Martinez smiled. Maybe that's the greatest lesson in all of this. Every world that harbors life is precious, even, perhaps especially, the ones we think are too harsh or primitive. Because sometimes the hardest paths lead to the most important destinations. Above them, Ships continued their eternal dance through Earth's sky, each one carrying the legacy of humanity's contribution to the galaxy. They had shown that true advancement doesn't mean escaping your origins, but building upon them to reach heights previously unimaginable. The Deathworlders had not just survived, they had shown the galaxy how to thrive. And in doing so, they had transformed what could have been an ending into a new beginning, proving that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from transcending your nature, but from embracing it fully. In the end, humanity's harsh evolution had given them exactly what they needed to save not just themselves, but an entire galaxy. They had shown that true resilience comes not from eliminating flaws, but from turning them into foundations for something greater than perfection itself, the ability to adapt, to grow, and to face whatever challenges the universe might bring.